Richie Porte, he's looking oh so smooth. He looks complete in control, but here's Gerrans. You see that look in his face. He's got Cadel Evans. They've brought him back.
Can you believe this? And now the next thing that number 11 will want to do is beat these two riders and grab himself a bonus and take this race right down to the finish tomorrow on Australia Day in Adelaide. Richie Porte is back in the big time here, Robbie.
We've got Richie Porte going solo, and then the 1, 2 and 3 from the GC all shadowing each other. If they look for too long, Richie Porte will ride away with this Tour Down Under.
Oh, he's looking for 33 seconds. He gets 10 for the win, so he's got to win by 23 seconds to get the ochre jersey.
Evans goes into damage control, and now he attacks. He's foxing like anything. The crowd goes bananas.
Well, Ulissi there took a look across, and Evans took it as a cue to attack. He's lifted the pedal revs. This is all being enacted out on the steep slopes of the climb here. Porte is coming up to win this stage, but they're still fighting out the seconds that will make the difference.
I tell you what, Richie Porte is going to come very close to overtaking all three of these riders. Cadell's not giving it everything now. He knows that Simon Gerrans is sitting in the wheel, and Porte is going further and further away at 300 metres to go.
Look at the crowd here, 300 metres to go. 3 Australians and an Italian do battle here. 3 of them will be on the podium tomorrow in the finish in Adelaide. Richie Porte is trying to break up that trio behind. He's given his all today. It was a sky plan, and so far it's going well. Richie Porte is going to win the battle, and then the clock will start. One thing's certain, he gets 10 seconds for winning. He's got to cross that line now with 23 seconds in hand. I don't think that's possible.
And here's the sprint. Ulysses hit out. Gerrans trying to line him up for these bonus seconds. Cadel Evans, if he finishes 4th, no bonuses. Richie Porte, what a fantastic ride.
What a day, the day before Australia Day. The team have been with you all week. What a way to finish it off.
I mean, the guys are absolutely incredible today. And, you know, it's a little bit of a shame on the corkscrew stage. I was a little bit out of position and you know, lost some time. But look, I felt great coming in today, and you know, the team had a plan, and the boys are absolutely incredible all day.
Evans is Richie
Here
Porte.
it is.
Here he goes. He suddenly switches to the left of the road. Cadel Evans is on in like a rabbit, and so too was Rowan Dennis. The big 3 are on the move.
Well, Richie Porte, he just laid all his cards on the table. A massive acceleration. Big chain ring. Cadel Evans responded immediately, and he's getting dropped. Cadel Evans can't follow.
Cadel has swung away, and he's left it to Rowan Dennis to see what he can do. Chased there by Dumoulin. Pozzovivo's trying to get on terms, but right now it's all or nothing for Richie Porte. He won here a year ago. It wasn't enough to take the lead. Can he convert his deficit now? But Rowan Dennis has got him.
Well, the one man that could cross that gap, and oh so easily, Rowan Dennis. He glided across the gap. Tom Dumoulin, he's fighting to get back on terms, but it's Richie Porte. He goes again out of the saddle, but Dennis has hardly lifted out. For the first time he gets up to follow Richie Porte, still looking quite comfortable.
Well, they've got the cycle instead rider at the back in trouble, Dumoulin, but at the moment it's one-on-one now. Richie Porte, the pretender for the throne, wants to get rid of this youngster from South Australia, and he's hanging there. The limpet's attached, and I don't think he's going to shed him. 3/4 of a kilometre to the line. Fabulous riding by, indeed, Richie Porte. Cadel Evans fades. Richie Porte is climbing the overall, but the youngster Rowan Dennis is hanging
to track.
15 seconds, 10 seconds for the win. He gets 10 seconds. He needs another 5 gap to make it the victory. And Richie Porte has pulled clear. This is a man totally inspired. He wants this race so much. As he comes up towards the summit now, I think he might just do it. The flag of South Africa flies, but it's a man from Tasmania who leads. It's just a corner towards the finish. Every second literally will count. What an incredible ride by Richie Porte of Team Sky. He's being pulled to the line. He gets the 10-second bonus. Now what does he get when he crosses the line? He's got the victory, as he did a year ago.
Richie, this has been a phenomenal performance. Willunga Hill always seems to smile on you.
Yeah, I know this climb quite well. It suits me a lot better than the stage at Paracombe, but I don't think I quite got the jersey, which is a bit of a disappointing. But no, I mean, my team were fantastic today, and full credit to Rowan. I mean, I gave it to him as hard as I could, but just wasn't quite to be. But I'm very happy to win the stage. It's a great way to start the year. I had a rough last year, so it's just nice to get, off to a good start.
Amazing fight, but we're only talking seconds. This race is far from over. It can still go down to the street of Adelaide tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it can. But, I was sort of hoping to finish it off here, but, it's so nice to win on this stage, but it is a bit disappointing to be so close to the jersey.
Which one it could possibly be, but there's now been an incredible acceleration from Richie Porte as he puts in the move here. He did this last year, don't forget. He's been unbeaten for the past 2 years on this climb. Now he's making his move. Woods is after him, and so too is Sergio Ainau.
Well, 1K to go. This is where Richie went last year and rode Rowan Dennis out of the wheel. This time it's Michael Woods, the Canadian, trying to come across, close the gap, and now in his wheel. 1 kilometre to go.
1 kilometre to go. Ainau has moved out the slipstream of Woods, who I think has cracked as he races after Richie Porte. This is an inspired ride by a man who's unbeaten on this climb for 2 years, and again he's kicked, but I think he might have misjudged this because Ainau has reached his back wheel. The man who leads in the Subaru King of the Mountains, and with this win would win that title before tomorrow, has locked into the back wheel of Richie Porte. He's waiting. Porte has no choice but to keep going. This has now become a 2-horse race to the line. Remember, a 10-second time bonus as well as a time gap, and Ainau could be right up there in the top 2 or 3 riders. Gerrans has got to come into our view pretty quick, otherwise he will lose his lead in this race. Well, Ainau is just sitting there waiting as we look back here. Now it's Gerrans at the head of the peloton. He's fighting to save his ochre. Woods is in 3rd place, he sits. Now the gap. Richie's gone again. Has he got Sergio Ainau? Because I think he might have, and he's realised it. He's prized open a gap off the Colombian climber. He's taken the short way. How long is a kilometre on the old Willunga Hill? He's pulled it off. He's going to get his 3rd win in as many years on top of the old Willunga Hill. Richie Porte grits his teeth. He says, no, this is my climb, it's my day, and I'm going to take it. As he comes up now, just a little flick around the corner, 150. What a display that was by Richie Porte. A new team, but the same result. First to the top of the old Willunga Hill. Roll on the Tour de France for this man. Well done, Richie Porte.
Well, absolutely, Richie. It's another year. It's a slightly different jersey, but it's the same old Richie Porte.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I never expected that one. Obviously didn't go to plan yesterday, that little time gap on the line, but then today, BMC guys were absolutely incredible. They backed me here, and which is nice. I've only just started this team, so it's always nice to win in Australia, and on top of Willunga, it's 3 in a row. I'm really happy.
This is a very special place in cycling, but it's a very special place in cycling in Australia, because it's like any of the Grand Tours when you come up this climb.
Yeah, look at the crowds are just incredible. I think the Australian public just get behind this race so much, and it really is. It does feel like riding the Tour de France up this climb. It's an incredible feeling.
Makes for a great week.
Attack is the best defence. He's on the steepest part of the climb. Through these bends, it's about to kick up one more time. And this time, well, and now hasn't been able to follow him for 1 metre. Richie Porte is on the loose.
Richie Porte is climbing up here, the first ever Australian to win the Paris-Nice cycle race. He's now going to finally have his big day in the Santos Tour Down Under. He has been the king of this hill for the last 3 years. Today, it is almost a lap of honour for him. He's shown the best bike riders, some of the best climbers in the world, how to climb the Willunga Hill. Tasmania will be out of their seats tonight.
Well, Phil, there's plenty of graffiti on this hill, the names of the riders, the big crown painted on the road. But this is a work of art by Richie Porte. He's got under the kilometre now. He's got the spray can out, and he started painting that big exclamation mark behind his win that he's going to get here in the Tour Down Under. Only disaster can stop him now. And now doing everything because he knows he can still move up on GC.
Sergio A now trying to climb out. Remember, he had bad luck. He had a double puncture on the road to Paracombe, and that cost him dearly as he was coming off Norton Summit. This man here, though, is going to lead this race by more than 30 seconds, but I think quite a lot more, in fact, because he will get a 10-second win bonus as well. Every time he looks over his shoulder, he's seeing the empty road now. Richie Porte can enjoy this, though you wouldn't think so looking at him just now. He must be feeling magical inside. The pursuit is on, but that's what it'll be all the way to the line.
And looking back behind Sergio now, well, Esteban Chavez, to conserve his podium place and try to move up to second place, he's got to stay in touch. Just 10 seconds the difference between Chavez and Enel, so the podium place is being fought out, but the number one, head and shoulders, he's only a slight man. He's not that big, Richie Porte, but he's head and shoulders above this entire field.
Richie Porte knows what it's like to lose this race by 2 seconds. In fact, he's lost it twice. As he now, they're rejoined here. Chavez has got up nicely behind Enau. He's recovered, and this man Chavez is climbing to second place overall in the race today. Jay McCarthy will be up into third place overall. They come through the crowd now, and he's almost trying to smile at the same time, I think. Richie, listen to the crowd bring him home. My goodness me. We've seen some atmosphere on this climb, but this is very, very special. The left turn into the line, the pain will end, a 10-second win bonus, a real-time gap. This man could be a minute ahead of the race by the time he crosses that line today. Tremendous. Richie Porte surely is going to give us the two-handed salute. Yes, he is. He is the champion of the Santos Tour Down Under.
Today you really confirmed yourself as the King of Willunga Hill, and winning in the ochre jersey today, did that make it just a little bit more special?
I tell you what, that hurt more than the other three that I've won up here. It was, I went from quite a long way out, and it's just incredible teamwork today, and I'm just happy to finish it off for the guys.
Talk about consolidating. I mean, even up until this morning, the 20-second advantage seemed large, but now you can ride more comfortably tomorrow on the streets of Adelaide.
Yeah, I mean, it's that street circuit in Adelaide. It's not easy. I mean, anything can happen there too. So I'm happy with where I'm at the moment. I put some good time into the other guys, and I think it'll make tomorrow maybe a little bit more relaxed for us.
He smiles at a huge crowd here. He deserves everything he received today. Richie Porte, simply the best.
Reaching the point where Richie Porte has attacked every time he's won the last 4 years on this climb. It goes around to the left and it kicks up quite steep through the right-hand bend. Here he goes.
Well, you've got to do what has always been successful, the habit of a lifetime. Jay McCarthy knew he would attack at that point, and he's on him.
Well, this is tradition if there ever was one. 4 times he's done it.
My
the 5th
goodness.
time he's going again. Richie Porte, he sees McCarthy's with him. It's a matter of then when he decides to ease off and then hit him again. It's always the way he's done it. McCarthy looking fairly comfortable.
Well, Richie pumped out nearly 700 watts there to launch that attack. Hessing is out of it now. Bernal is coming back, the boy in the white jersey. This is all or nothing by Richie Porte. He won't be swinging over. He's got to do it. McCarthy checks who is coming up behind me. These two know each other's powers.
This is shadows of when Richie Porte rode
It's
the
opening,
Colombian and
it's
now out of
opening.
his wheel. He's doing it again.
It's
Richie
opening.
Porte.
This is the second kick, the famous second kick of Richie Porte, and this one will kill off Jay McCarthy. Richie Porte, who crashed out of the Tour de France in July, has come back to the Santos Tour Down Under to do what he always does best, and that's win to the top of Willunga Hill. If he does it, it's a 5th ever victory here.
Well, that is the mental boost that Richie Porte really needs to be able to make that second acceleration, see that gap opening and know this is it now, all the way to the line, open up this gap as much as possible. He's been the aggressor. He's gone in exactly the same place he's always gone. They all knew it. Tactic, no tactic, just go. If you can't follow, Richie Porte wins.
Now, to get the victory tomorrow, he needs 8 seconds on the line and win the stage with the bonus. These boys coming under 1 kilometre to go now, but the race is done. Who's going to catch Richie Porte, if indeed anyone?
Well, he's made the acceleration now. He's opened the gap. The question is, can anyone respond from behind? Anyone who didn't respond to the first acceleration, if they're able to cross that gap, Richie will be trying to look through the crowds to see if anybody's coming. And you can look at the difference from last year. This headwind is really affecting the tempo. There's Keesink, Pozzovivo just in front, a very large bunch trying to come back to them. And somewhere in between is Jay McCarthy and Bernal.
Well, the seconds will matter now for Richie Porte here as he gets into the crowds and the tree line once again. A familiar deja vu for the rider from BMC. Look at that crowd. They picked him out. He's just got the left flick. Don't look over your shoulder because every second will count. Yes, it's your 5th straight win in this hill race, but it's going to need a lead of 8 seconds after he hits the line. So we'll all count with him as he comes off that final bend. A massive crowd, and he comes up to the clock, grits his teeth. Now it's up to the Mr. Time himself. 2, 3.
Well, Richie Porte, we've been calling you the King of Willunga Hill, and today at the same place as you always attack, you came up trumps.
Yeah, I must first of all give credit to my team. They were fantastic today, as per always. You know, Rowan Dennis there really laid it all on the line for me. So, you know, I think it's probably the hardest time that I've done this climb. It really hurt today.
Was there a moment of panic, though, in the crosswinds coming into Willunga Village just before the start of the last climb?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there was guys in the gravel and, you know, it was absolute carnage. I can't say it wasn't unexpected. It sort of happens every year.
But what about the overall classification now? Because our calculations are that you may be sitting in 2nd place by a single second to Daryl Impey, but it's all going to go to the clock.
Yeah, look, I mean, for me that's unfortunate, but you know, Daryl's had a fantastic tour and you know, he's ridden smart. So, I mean, it was all up to me today to put more time into him, and I wasn't good enough to quite finish the job off, but you know, I'm happy with another stage.
But finally, you've been able to put the Tour de France disaster back behind you now from last year, and this must be on a good track now for a good Tour de France this year.
Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, I've worked hard back in Tasmania, done some fantastic training, so I'm super motivated for this season, and you know, I just hope that come July I can be on top form.
Well, this is where Porte has always gone, and Porte goes.
Now who's going to go after him? Life is turning a little upside down for Daryl Impey.
Well, the Sunweb rider is Chris Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton could well be the best placed young rider of this tour, but Woods is coming as well into our picture. So where is Impey? Impey needs to cross this gap. He can't afford to lose too many seconds.
Porte, Hamilton, Woods, Bennett, Pozzovivo, the last man. Behind that, Mitchelton Scott for Daryl Impey. The gap is still small, but Porte is dropping the others. Bennett is dropped, Pozzovivo is dropped, and Porte is opening everything now and going alone. He's caught Walt Pools. The bid for victory now from Richie Porte.
At 1 kilometre to go, the King of Willunga is about to relive his moments. For 5 years he sprinted to victory on this climb. Whether it's for the overall win, time will tell, but he's looking very good now.
Well, at the moment, Walt Pools is able to follow Richie Porte. Porte in and out of the saddle, looking over the shoulder. The gap to Impey still not enough. Michael Woods is getting his way back across the gap as well. Richie Porte, another acceleration, seeing if he can offload the Dutchman from Team Sky, but he's hanging tough. What is the gap? We look back, we see Woods, we see Hamilton, Mitchelton Scott coming with Daryl Impey in the background. The gap is not enough yet. It's got to be at least 9 seconds for one of these riders to pass Daryl Impey,
yes.
And it will need to be actually 10 or they'll lose on a countback.
Well, there is Daryl Impey being dragged up to the summit by Lucas Hamilton at the moment. Sanchez has got himself in onto Porte, onto Impey's wheel. They need to help each other now because the King is not going to abdicate here. He's going for it. He's got rid of Wout Poels. He's speeding towards the top beneath the flag of Brittany in France. This man from Tasmania is sprinting to what looks like a 6th win in as many years on top of Willunga Hill. And as happened last year, when he hits the line, the clock will count. He needs to win by 10 clear seconds.
The King of Willunga is now solo, Richie Porte. The gap not yet big enough. He needs to sprint all the way to the line. Daryl Impey will do the same. It is shades of 12 months ago. The crown will be looming on the road in front of Richie Porte. He's coming up towards the corner. He looks back at 150 to go.
At 150 to go, the king remains the King of Willunga. Richie Porte looks over his shoulder. I'm not sure who he looks. It could have been Impey in the background there. We'll see him on the line. He gets a 10-second win. Watch the corner. It's the white jersey of Daryl Impey. Porte wins. And Daryl Impey wins the Tour Down Under.
You played all your cards really good. Waited for the last moment. Convincing win. Missing 1 second, but still it was a fantastic win, and I believe you had a great start into your season.
Yeah, I mean it's a hard race for someone like me to win. There's one hilltop finish and that's it. But you know, hats off to Daryl Impey for the win. But to win 6 times on Willunga is a great feeling.
Richie Porte, it is number 1, the King of Willunga Hill. He's got to Chris Harper and he's now turning the screws, winding up the pace. Luke Plapp is also there. Luke Durbridge is in that line as well. Harper, he lets half a length go to Porte. 34 is the Ben Metcalf from Bridge Lane.
And Luke Plapp, he recognises that Metcalf was starting to struggle and he closed that gap quickly.
Fantastic riding and sense of awareness there by the youngster, and he will have his sights firmly on Richie Porte as well, despite Chris Harper in
front of the race. Richie Porte, he goes. The rest can't follow the wheel. The King of Willunga is on the loose. They try and get in the wheel. Richie checks left. He checks back the other side. He goes again. Can they hang on?
Drew Morey is trying. He's grimacing. He's doing one for the dentist in the audience. Plenty of smiling. It is Richie with composure. Angus Lyons looks down to his legs. He asks the question. They don't have the answers. Richie is rolling.
Well, there's just 2 left. It's reminiscent of last year. Richie Porte caught the break with Matthew Holmes in it, managed to follow him to the top and beat him out for the victory. At the moment, Drew Morey, he's hanging on to the coattails of Richie Porte. Can Porte go again? He doesn't like to be followed up Willunga Hill. And there it goes.
He doesn't have to look again. He doesn't have to attack again because Drew Morey has popped. Richie has risen.
Well, Richie Porte, he's got better day by day. Day 1, he wasn't quite ready to race. Day 2, he was a super domestique and then finished in the first chase group. Day 3, and he already rises from those ashes. Willunga Hill, it's almost like he goes into autopilot.
Indeed he has. Here are the chasers. This is Chris Harper, followed by Luke Durbridge. Then number 5, it's Luke Plapp. Number 34 is Metcalf. And you could see also there for the St. George Continental team was Connor Reardon.
Well, it's in Chris Harper's interest to keep pushing the pace. He wants to move himself onto the podium. He's got to get rid of Raf Feinstein by far enough that he can move up. Luke Plapp will hold second at this rate, and Harper is riding for a podium place. While Richie Porte, he's now reached the point where he normally attacks when it's a World Tour race in the Santos Tour Down Under. He's already on the loose. What a familiar sight. Big gap to the rest. It is just over a kilometre to go.
For Harper, he just needed to make up 5 seconds on Rafael Feinstein to move up into 3rd position overall. And unfortunately for Raf, I can't spot him. Harper is up into 3rd, but the performance by Plapp holding on, world class.
And talking of world class, this man right here, number 1, he has gone back to his old home of Team Ineos. Richie Porte, so familiar, the King of Willunga. We question, could there be a new one crowned today? Well, in a way, yes. He's taking it back. He was second up here last year. 1K to go for Richie Porte.
Romping Richie has shown everybody a clean pair of wheels. On the small chain ring, a high cadence, a little check across the shoulder. Keep in mind, this is a Richie Porte a little underdone.
It is, and he's not really that confident that all those big looks back. He knows this last part of the climb, it flattens out. It's quite fast. Someone could come out of the wheels, make a late attack and try to come across. So he's got to keep squeezing every little bit out. Durbridge,
Durbridge, but in front of Durbridge, Luke Plapp. Luke Plapp is bridging across to Richie Porte. You want a new king? Luke Plapp has got the power. He goes across to Porte. Sensational.
Well, here's why Richie Porte was looking back so much. He was looking at his own teammate coming across. Plapp is into the wheel of Porte. It's a double up from Team Garmin Australia. Richie Porte, he takes Plapp in tow, and they've distanced the rest.
This is exceptional. The current star of Australian cycling, third last year at the Tour de France, nursing the future generation. Luke Plapp powering onto the wheel of Richie Porte. This is the stuff that dreams are made of.
Oh, this is the master and the apprentice. Let me show you how it's done.
Yeah, well, they certainly can't be a threat to Luke Durbridge. His lead coming into this stage over 2 minutes to Luke Plapp. He's not going to lose that much, but it's a phenomenal performance by the young Australian from the national track team, coming up to the wheel of the King of Willunga in Richie Porte. 300 metres to go. The only question is now, who wins the stage?
That is the big question. It was a rider from Brunswick who won the women's race. It's a rider from Brunswick who started with her in the men's race. Luke Plapp sitting behind Richie Porte. Richie Porte has won here 6 times.
I tell you who's going to win.
Richie Porte. Across the top of the Strava points, Richie Porte from 6 years in a row. Last year he won the race overall. Richie has risen and the king reigns supreme on Willunga. Porte followed by Plapp.
You've done it again. Your form wasn't as good as it has been, but it's good enough to win up here.
Look, the rider of the day was Plappy in second there. I mean, he could have easily come around me and he didn't, so... You know, it's just been a great race so far. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the form I normally would. Had to go longer than I normally would too, and that hurt so much, but it's just great to be back racing.
So rewarding though, isn't it? Still to be able to be good enough to get a win when you know the conditions not quite there, but how emotional is it to, in these conditions, to still get to the top first?
I mean, it's, you know, 1 month ago I came out of quarantine a little bit rotund, and, you know, I worked hard. Had some really good training mates back there in Tassie, and they've really kicked me back into gear, so I'm happy with that. You know, I think Luke was the stronger of the two of us today. You know, he won the stage yesterday, but it's just great to be back here in Australia racing. And yes, it's not the World Tour, but it's still a hard race.
It's still on international television, mate, so it's still great to be out there and showing your face again.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm almost 36, so it's nice to be up there still.
Well done, Richie. Congratulations.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.